Welcome to the Spiritual Connection Podcast. I am your host, Jill. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about your energy, their energy, manifesting, mindset, creating high vibrational healing for you, body work, the importance of massage and self-care, and much, much more. Let's get rolling. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Om Shanti Healing's podcast, The Spiritual Connection. I am so grateful and pleased to invite and introduce Melissa Kellogg Lueck of Avanti Business Academy for Women. She is a women's entrepreneurial coach out of Tinmouth, Colorado. Hello, Melissa. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey there, it's so great to be here. I'm really excited to get to talk to you.
Me too. Me too. I want to hear all about what you do and how you help those entrepreneurial women around the community and beyond with all the special things and knowledge that you have. Let's begin with just kind of a little background on your business, why you chose coaching as a career, and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, so it's a long story because I've been in business 20 years now, but I will make it short. I'm celebrating my 20th anniversary of starting this business this year. So I can't believe it has been that long. But anyway, so when I started my business, I originally did it because it was kind of a simple story, but I had moved to the mountains near Vail, Colorado to be closer to my then boyfriend, now husband, and I didn't want to work in the resort industry in the ski industry. So I decided I would just start my own business. And so that's what I did then. And I was providing done for you marketing services and which I loved, had a great time doing that, and was able to make a decent living for myself. And then once we got married, I started having kids. And when they got a little bit older, and I decided I was ready to really grow my business and do more and make more money and have a greater impact. And so when I started doing that, I really ran up against a lot of difficulty, struggle, right? Because that's what it is anytime you're growing a business, there's struggles. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's when I discovered coaching. And what I discovered is that all of the marketing things that I was doing for myself or all the things I had done for my clients in the past, and it wasn't working for me. And it was really, I felt a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment about that. But what I discovered is that I really was lacking a lot of self-confidence and a lot of belief in the value of what I had to offer. And so through that's when I discovered coaching and discovered mindset work, which I know is a huge part of what you do. And so when I started blending that with marketing strategy, it just lit my business on fire, lit me on fire. And so I was like, well, I can't help but want to teach this to everybody and coach other women and help women along. And so that's what I've done. And that's what I've been doing full time since, let's see, 2019. I started coaching full time. And yeah, so that's how we got here.
That's wonderful. There's such a need for guidance, to help people with that confidence piece. I think that word confidence is a huge struggle for a lot of people that are solopreneurs or, trying to build a small business and wearing every single hat and doing all the grunt work. And it can be very draining and it can be very, very lonely,
Mhm.
So to have someone like you to be there to lean on, to probe questions around what can I do? What am I doing wrong? Where is my, really evaluate in depth the mindset because it is so true with the stories that you tell yourself can make you or break you in just about everything there is in life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for
All
sure.
about what is that self-talk? What is that inner dialogue reeling in your head? Is it something really positive? Is it forward thinking? Is there a growth mindset? Or are you talking yourself out of everything uncomfortable that you need to face in order to get to the next level, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very good stuff. Awesome. So, from what you've told me, is that your main niche market is women entrepreneurs. That's
Hmm.
kind of your focus, is to help women with struggles move away and grow out of that stuff and to evolve into something bigger. Can you tell me, just to back up a little bit, the struggles that you face with women that come to you? Is there a pattern that you've noticed with entrepreneurship in women, kind of solopreneur doing it on their own? Share that with us.
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's funny because our brains, I think, aren't very creative sometimes in the struggles that or the thoughts that we have about our struggles, right? So it's very common and at all levels, thoughts like, well, I don't know how to do this, or it's really hard. Um, we struggle with forgetting that we have so much value to offer. I really strongly believe that every woman has $1 million business inside of her if she would just really embody the value that she offers and then learn how to communicate that out to the world. That we all have that capability and we all have unlimited capacity and capability, but often we limit ourselves, right? We limit ourselves by thinking, I'm not the best one at this, or there's probably people better, or there's someone doing it differently. There's a one right way. I think that's one of the biggest struggles that I see is that, especially around marketing, we're all looking for the one right way to market, right?
Mhm.
Or the one
Secret
right way to,
sauce.
yeah, to get our message out there.
Yeah.
But what I want to say to everyone is there is no one right way. There's one right way for you and the way that works for you. And so that's what I love to teach is really finding that and finding that that feels really aligned with who you are and how you like to connect with people and then going out and doing that. So that's
Yeah.
one of the I
Like
see.
everybody has their own story, right? Their own experience, their own perception of every experience they have that's unique to them. And they've grown and learned and built upon those experiences to be the person they are today.
Hmm.
So when you grow a business, it's up to you to be able to kind of tap into that uniqueness of you, right? There is
Yeah.
not one way for everybody. How boring would that be? If we were all doing it the same way, nothing would get done. Like no one would sell anything, right? If we were all the same, like following the person that's doing it. And, I mean, there's some guidance, of course, if you're being coached, if you have mentorship within a company that you join, that you're like with my finance business, I'm 1099, but I have a team of people training me also.
Hmm. Yeah.
So in that scenario, yes, I'm going to be the sponge. And then I'm
Mhm.
going to take what I learned from them and make it uniquely mine.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure.
I feel like what people get stuck in that stagnates them is that the wanting the answer of the end result, whatever that is. They want the final plan, the final what's it going to look like 10 years from now. And they have trouble staying present in the moment that they're in right now in the growth process and the learning involved in today. What are you
Hmm.
going to do today? Don't think about 10 years. Yes, set goals and reachable things to go after, but if you put yourself in a who am I going to be? What am I going to be? What's that going to look like 10 years from now? And stress over it and not look at it as something exciting to look forward to, I feel that like that takes the wind like right out of your sails. Because you
Yeah.
don't, it could be way more awesome than you're envisioning it anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times we think ahead to, that big milestone or achieving that big goal, and we think it's going to be better there than it is here. Right. And yes, maybe we'll have the money or the status or whatever you're seeking. However, you're still going to have the human experience, which is a 50-50 experience. It's 50% great and it's 50% hard, right? And so it's not necessarily all about just getting there. It's about how can we become the person that we want to be and become them now and behave as them now, right?
Right. Like envision where you want to be in 10 years. Like, who am I going to be in 10 years? Like, that's what you're saying, right? Like, see, what is my life going to look like in 10 years from now? Doing this finance business. Like, what's my bank account going to look like? What's my client base going to look like? What's my team going to look like? And envisioning that like in your heart, like feeling it in the energy of your heart chakra and expanding from there.
Yeah.
Then wondering now with like discontent, right? There's
Right.
excitement in the future and you got to earn it.
Yeah.
And part of the earning it is the getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yes,
Doing the
100%.
networking, getting in front of people, speaking in crowds, not always knowing the answer and admitting it. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff is all part of the growth, right? Is part of entrepreneurship and enjoy the ride because you
Yeah.
don't really have another choice unless you want to be a W-2 and then have somebody, I'm not going to throw names around, but somebody that you don't respect running the show for you and dictating your time, right?
Yeah, exactly. I talk to my clients a lot about that because once we're in the hardness of being an entrepreneur and building a business, we think, oh, it would be so much easier if I just went and worked for somebody and someone just told me what to do, right? Yes, it could be, but that's also hard because a lot of us have already been through that, right? We've already been in that career where we've worked for someone else and been told what to do. And we didn't like that either. So
Right.
it's like we always have the opportunity to choose our hard. It can
Yeah.
be hard to not have a business and not have unlimited ability to make money, right? That's just as hard as having your own business and all the challenges and all the growth that comes with that as well. So we
Right.
get to choose our hard.
Right. Right. And how beautiful is it that we do have choice? I mean, you could stop being an entrepreneur and go get a, hourly job and have a boss dictating to you when you can go pee and when you can have your lunch and when you can hydrate, and you're not going to like that very much once you do it on your own for a while and you're your own boss. I tried it. I had a moment where I burnt out on massage. I'm like, the grass has got to be greener on the other side. And I
Hmm.
went and got a management job in 2023, and I lasted 3 months before I was full of rage and hate, and was calculating how much money could I make during this amount of time doing massage that I'm not making right now. Like every Sunday of my life, I'm at work, when I could be home with my family. Every holiday, I got to be here, when I could be I got lied to about my income, like what my pay scale and my raises. And, it's just like, it's not always greener on the other side. If you can settle for an hourly, pay, that's, so be it. Some people
Yeah.
burnt out and they're like, I don't want to do this on my own anymore. And I just want to be told what to do. Some people get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And we know that statistics say that 86% of Americans will never start a business. So there's that 16% of us that are the outliers that start businesses. And actually, that's the hard that we choose, right? And
Hmm.
um, yeah, so I think about that a lot. Like we're already in rare air just by being entrepreneurs. It's not something for everyone. It's not something everyone does.
It definitely isn't. I mean, if you got to wear all the hats, right? You got to be on it all the time,
Yeah.
working, working, working all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
cool. So tell me what kind of struggles when you're working with these women that come in,
Hmm.
they um they come in with a specific need and they're
Yeah.
reaching out to you to help them kind of reach that need.
Hmm.
Can you share some of the struggles that you have experienced with clients, maybe a couple case studies or examples you might want to share of some of the stuff, the struggles that they come in with to you, and then like how you help them overcome that or help them switch the playlist in their brain of those stories being reeled around in their head all the time. What is that dialogue when they meet you? And how do you change that dialogue for them as you work together?
Yeah, so every woman that I've ever worked with is a very determined, growth-minded woman that wants to create a successful business and make good money, right? And so there's that determination piece there, which I think is super important. And then there's often the other side is the I don't know how to do it, right? It's kind of like not being able to see the forest for the trees. And so we work a lot on what they actually want to create. What is the life they want to create, not just the business. But for us as women, I believe we are very holistic. We're very holistic focused. And so we want to be able to have a great business, make an impact, and then also have great relationships and connections with people that we care about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the kind of women that I often work with. And I'm thinking of a client of mine that is has a business where she's a virtual assistant and has a team of other virtual assistants. And so when we started working together, she was a one-woman show, but she really had visions of growing this and wanting to make more money and make a greater impact. But she just didn't know the steps to do that. And she was really overwhelmed. She had a lot of clients, but was not like making great money. And she just was like, well, there's no more hours in the day. I don't know how I'm going to make more money, the way this business is. So we really broke that down, and I helped her to see, which I think is so powerful, especially for women, see that there's a much greater opportunity for profitability when you stop thinking time is money and start thinking about money comes from value. So the more value you offer, the more money you can make, irrespective of hours, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I helped her to reorganize her business so that she was no longer charging by the hour, and I just did air quotes, sorry, air quotes charging
Air
for
quotes,
the
everyone.
by the hour, but thinking more about the value that she offers and charging for the value that she offers rather than being stuck in that hours for dollars mentality. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you are stuck in a hours for dollars mentality, the better you get and the less time it takes you to do the work, the less money you're making in that model for her business,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so throughout that and transitioning her business, we were able to reduce the number of clients that she has by half and double her income at the same time.
Ooh, I like
And
that.
so she was able to really focus in on her zone of genius, the things that she is really, really great at, but that her clients really, really value her for, right? And then she began to add team members that could help with some of the other administrative tasks that she wasn't that weren't in her zone of genius, but were in their zone of genius. And so she's able to make more and have a team and be able to help support other women growing their businesses, right? And also have higher level clients. And so she's well over six figures now in her business and growing her team and just really having much more fun and enjoying her business and having a life at the same time.
Okay, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
How did you help her find the help that she needed? Was that something that you do as far as your coaching program? Or
We
she
talked,
bringing
yes.
people, recruiting people in, finding the right fit for her?
Yeah, I'm not a recruiter myself. She actually has a really strong network of folks that she can pull from. But the work that we did together, I would help her determine the right person for that role and really figure out who is the right person. Do we need to bring in someone that has, I don't know, graphic arts specialty or copywriting specialty or whatever, or is more of a, administrative assistant or, really help to determine what those roles are. And then she had a really great or has a really great network that she could go and pull from and look for those people.
That's wonderful. It sounds like that was a really valuable time she spent with you, like a mindset shift. Sometimes it just takes a new pair of eyes, a new mind to invite in new ideas that give you those incredible aha moments of hope and
Yeah.
excitement, right?
Yeah.
We bust our butts to build a business and we don't want to give it up. Most of us have worked too hard to just
Mhm.
be done. So having someone to help build it is huge if you get in a rut.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's always better to have two brains solving problems than one. So I believe me, I tried it on my own for 10 years. The first 10 years I was in business. I didn't invest in coaching or, I may have done a course here and there, but not in really deep coaching. And so once I started doing that, my business just completely turned around. Like surrounding yourself with the right people is what I would say one of the secrets to success. And what I've noticed from all of the high level multi-million dollar women CEOs that I get to connect with, they all have a great community of support around them.
Yeah. You got to hang out with the people that do it better than you, right?
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
That could give you their wisdom and years of experience.
Yeah.
So, on that note, you've been doing this for over 20 years, you said?
Yes. Yeah. I started my business, founded my business in 2005.
That is a long lifespan. Like you were a coach before coaching was cool because everything kind of shifted during quarantine. Was like all of a sudden there's like a million coaches everywhere you go on social media. So you were in it and established and had your foundation set before all this competition came your way.
Yeah, I mean, coaching's been around, business coaching specifically. I mean, we know coaching, like if you think about, coaches for Olympic athletes and so forth have been around for hundreds of years, I'm sure, right? Um, but business coaching has been around for decades and decades. I mean, I think about Dan Sullivan, has been a business coach for over 50 years. And so it's not something new, but I think, yeah, with the advent of online and I
Hmm.
was doing work over Zoom and remote, before it was cool. And so, yeah, I definitely had that foundation and have had a lot of experience both growing my own business and helping others grow theirs. And I think that's what makes a good coach is someone that's experienced the good stuff and the bad stuff. And, because being an entrepreneur is all about problem solving. That's why we become entrepreneurs, and that's basically our job description as an entrepreneur is like we're constantly solving problems for our clients, for ourselves, for our business.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
The more
could
problems
become
you can
pretty
have,
good
the
at
more you
that.
get to solve.
Yeah. So, give us some tips and tricks on sustainability as an entrepreneur. 20 years in business, that's really impressive. How do you do it? How do you stay fresh and energized? What do you do to help yourself ground and clear out the day and things of that nature that can help the listener that is an entrepreneur, maybe a newbie or been in it for a while and just needs some help with clearing the energy and staying in the right headspace after 20 years, of doing it on your own. That's a huge feat to get to that point.
Yeah, I think the first thing for me is to stay intimately connected with your why and why you're doing what you're doing.
Mhm.
Because to get up every morning and go through all the hard stuff we have to go through personally and professionally, it really helps me to know why I'm doing all of it, right? Whether it's for my future, for, as an example, for my children. I feel very strongly about women and encouraging women and helping them to grow themselves and their businesses, but just staying really deeply connected to that why. So I spend time every morning when I get up journaling and reconnecting to my why and why I'm doing what I'm doing today. Whatever's on the calendar, right? I establish an intention for everything on the calendar. Um, and then also what has been really great work, some of the best work of my life has been building a deep and very trusting relationship with myself and growing my ability to create safety with myself for myself, right?
Mm, that's
And
good. Yeah.
so that I'm deeply safe, whether someone says no or, I pick up the phone and get rejected, or I feel like I fail at something, like whatever happens in my business or in my life, I know at the end of the day, I'm safe.
Mm, that's good stuff. Yeah, that is gold right there. Those are some of the main ones that throw people off track, and make them give up, is
For sure.
not knowing their why or having the why be not of high moral value, right? Maybe their why is something that's not going to get them where they need to be because the why is wrong. And perhaps a shift is necessary at that point. But that confidence piece that we talked about earlier, I think is very much in alignment with the trust of self. Because I
Hmm.
feel like if you got to have both,
Hmm.
and that feeling of worthiness and doing what you're doing is high value to yourself and to others, and truly really believing it on a cellular level that you're doing right by the people that you serve, and that your heart is in the right place, and you really feel that this is an important piece that people will get a lot from,
Yeah.
and knowing that fully, feeling it, breathing it in, having that high vibrational energy around that, trusting in yourself that this is the right path and that
Yeah.
you will find the success that you're looking for. You will reach those goals. That confidence piece keeps you going, doesn't it? Like, I can do this, right?
Yeah. You have to have
Believing
that
fully.
safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. And have your own back because, especially in the early years of getting a business off the ground, you're going to have to believe it and believe in yourself and what you're doing harder than anyone else around you.
Hmm.
And you're going to have to believe it before the money comes in,
Yeah.
right? And you're going to have to keep believing it to keep increasing the revenue and bringing in the money that you want to be bringing in. And
Hmm.
so, really attending to that belief and that safety will help you to keep going and also to really feel that, it really, for me, it like creates aliveness, right? Like I'm okay. I know I'm safe. So, we're the most alive in our businesses when we are open to feeling all the range of feelings, when we're open to the failure and we're okay with the failure as much as we're okay with the success.
So true. Because encouraging failing within yourself, like if it does happen, if you get a no, if you get a rejection, or in my case, if I get a chargeback, if someone cancels their policy, you know, okay, that sucked, yes. But what did I learn? What am I going to do now? Right? I have this energy, this low energy that came at me. Now what? Am I going to let it drag me down and complain about it for the next 3 days? Or am I going to push it aside and go, okay, on to the next, and just keep going, right? In the mindset around how you talk to yourself as an entrepreneur and as a woman, all women know what I'm talking about, right? We got to stay high vibration and feel what we need to feel to have success inside our hearts. I really emphasize that strongly. If you feel your business energetically in your body and kind of hold it in a high vibrational space of joy and excitement and coachability and moldability and accepting the fails, accepting the challenges and looking forward to all of that with positivity of I will get to where I want to be in 10 years and I can see it. I can taste it. I can touch it. I can smell it. And I will achieve that, but holding it in the right vibration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not with an ounce of second guessing,
Mm-hmm.
because that will immediately lower the vibration and then you're not in alignment with what you truly want. That misalignment is going to stagnate things and hold you back. So
Yeah.
that safety net of you can feel the safest in yourself more than anyone can tell you you're safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to believe that you're safe and trust in your ability to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
And learn,
yeah,
was going to say, and learn to, or ask yourself, how can I enjoy this journey? Right? Because
right,
it's a journey.
right. I've struggled with, anxiety and a sense of urgency
Mm-hmm.
around my future.
Yeah.
There, yeah, I mean, there's a whole backstory we don't need to get into, but there's a lot of my life I've been kind of on my own in a sense, and I've also been codependent at the same time. So growing out of that with this excitement of I'm going to get to this point in my life where I'm going to feel safe financially and I'm going to be able to take care of everything in my life to keep my quality of life high that I need to, and I'm going to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
It's a goal that I have personally is to be able to afford all the things in my life that I need to afford by myself. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
have a partner and he's amazing. And, but I need his financial support. I have a goal to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I would still choose him, obviously, but there's a part as a woman, I don't think I'm alone in this, where we
No.
love our partners, yes, but there's a part of us deep inside that wants to know that we're going to be safe without anyone's help.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
mean, that's,
women that I speak with share this. A lot of entrepreneurs are like, man, that would be awesome to not need to depend on anybody but me, right? To get the job done, to pay the bills, to feed the kids, to do all the things and be able to choose, have more choice around everything. When you're financially stable and independent and smart with your money, that's going to happen faster for you.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's the essence for me of financial freedom for women, right?
Mhm.
The
Right?
freedom to do the work you want to do, be with who you want to be with, and do it where you live, where you want to live, right?
Yeah. Go on vacations with cash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Be debt free. All the things are really important. And I think as people, as women, as we make a plan to reach these goals, to start small so you can celebrate along the way,
Mm-hmm.
like pay off a credit card or whatever it is in your life that you need to start with the small stuff and build upon the small stuff till you build momentum and then you celebrate. Make sure you celebrate
Yeah.
those goals that you meet, those milestones, that uncomfortable stuff that you make comfortable, whatever it is, to just acknowledge it and celebrate. I think women have a hard time with that too, like giving themselves a pat on the back and telling themselves that they're awesome and they did this hard thing and they made it happen. Don't you think?
Oh,
That like
absolutely. I
we
mean,
need
we
to be
know,
on our own team, our own cheerleaders, right?
yeah. And we know that whatever we focus on, we create more of. So if we focus on celebration and where things are going right, we're going to create more of that and
Mhm.
more to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. And to not feel guilty about it, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a struggle with me. I felt shameful or guilty to let myself celebrate,
Mhm.
when I make bigger things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we get stuck in that fight or flight, and it's always about what's the next thing? What's the next bill I can pay? What's the next accomplishment I can do? And you don't stop to go, oh my God, just like I just paid off my car. We need
Yeah.
to celebrate that. That's huge, stuff like that. Just take a minute, take a beat, and get your girlfriends together and go clink glasses and celebrate your big thing that you did, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I've really been thinking a lot about this because I used to really think and believe that the most successful entrepreneurs were people that something tough happened to or hard happened to, and they kind of had we've heard these stories a million times, like their back was against the wall and they had to make this business work, right? They were in some sort of bad situation, and then they go on and, because of that, achieve great success, right? And so I had this story that, I wasn't going to be able to achieve great success until I had something horrible happen where my back was against the wall. But what I now know is that we can just as much, and I actually think that's more of kind of a scarcity and fear type of motivation. But we know from research that being motivated by your future and by your goals and dreams and things that you want, being motivated by desire and love is actually a much more effective and efficient motivator for massive action and making a huge impact.
Yeah.
So the more little things that go right that we celebrate, like you said, the more of those we're going to create, and that actually is an easier, simpler, more efficient path to success.
Yeah. It elevates the vibration, it builds confidence,
And it
right?
feels a hell
It
of a lot
makes you
better.
love yourself more,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, why not? And it's something I'm growing into, as I get older, you
Hmm.
know. I think something magical happens for women in their 40s. You know,
For
we
sure.
we reach that level of like, I'm not doing it to impress anybody else anymore. I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
And especially if you've gone through something catastrophic like a death or a divorce or, something that really like uprooted your whole world and you had to settle back down into something completely different and new,
Hmm.
it teaches you a lot, doesn't it?
For sure.
You
Yeah.
know, it changes you.
Yeah, and it's not without it, and without those struggles and those things that happen that are really tough, we can't experience and enjoy the celebrations as much, right? We only are able to celebrate and enjoy the good times having experienced bad times. So
Very
you
true.
really need that contrast of
Right.
experience to live a full life.
Yeah. So true. Yeah. Valid point. Yeah, for sure. Because how boring it would it be if everything went perfect all the time? I mean, it'd be
Well,
great,
we wouldn't
but
grow,
you
right?
wouldn't
Why
earn
would you ever
it,
grow?
right? And you wouldn't grow from it. Exactly. There's so much to learn in the struggle,
Mhm.
you know, and it is again a choice. I think some people are built for entrepreneurship and it's just in their blood and
Yeah,
they
and I
can't
think
function any other way.
yeah, for sure. I think if you have the desire, that desire was put in you by your creators, what I believe, and you're meant to do it. Because, like I said, 86% of people don't, right? And so if you have it, you're already equipped for it. And what you said earlier about having that desire for things to happen faster or that anxiety that it should be happening differently, right? That's a very typical entrepreneurial response because we are visionaries. We can see the future of how things are becoming, and that's a gift that we have. And so we're always going to feel a little bit of that anxiety of knowing things can be better and different because that's
Right.
gives us that vision to create it.
Right. And never settling for for what we got right now, because there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that sense of urgency is definitely it gets to us in our DNA, after so many years of being on our own and just that desire to do more, be more, serve more, create more.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's ever going to be a plateau moment for me where I'm done working on myself and I'm done working on my business. That's never going to happen. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, and that's really the end, right? I mean, when you're done growing, my grandmother used to always say, when you stop moving, you start dying. And so I think of it like this, it's like in our entrepreneurial journey, it's the same thing. When we're not moving and growing, that's when we and our business begins to die, right?
yeah, so true. So true. There's a lot of value in this conversation. Thank you so much, Melissa. I appreciate you being on with me.
My
Is there
pleasure.
anything else that you want to add at the end here before we get going?
Well, I know you wanted me to mention I have what I have coming up. If anybody wants to connect with me, I do have a podcast that is called the Doing Business Like a Woman podcast. And so invite you to check that out. And for those of you that are in Northern Colorado, I will be hosting a Women's Success Summit on April 8th in Windsor, Colorado. And so these are the kind of conversations that we're having in that community all the time. And so I would love to have you join us for that. Um, and please connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram, Facebook, and those three places the most. And that's some of the fun stuff happening.
Fabulous. And talk a little on your Academy for Women. Is there something other than a one-on-one thing that you do for coaching?
Yeah, so I do hold classes throughout the year that I do teach on my own, as well as collaborations with other really brilliant women that I bring in. So, best thing to do is to visit my website and get on my email list and or connect with me on social, and you'll see announcements for all of those. I have a really great series coming up this year that is a collaboration with a woman that's a fractional chief operating officer, so super smart about operations. And so I'm going to be collaborating with her and then a pricing expert, and then I will be teaching marketing. And so we're really going to help women to dial in their business for 2025 and achieve their goals.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So I will have all Melissa's information and links in the show notes. So take a peek at that if you want to reach out to her. And thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate your time. You're a busy, busy lady.
It's so great to get to talk to you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. You take care, and hopefully we'll have you on again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for today, folks. Thanks for spending the time with me. And don't forget to check the notifications below on my social media links, my YouTube channel with self-care and meditations, as well as my omshantihealing.com website, where you can get info on spiritual coaching and my online courses. And as always, if you do enjoy my podcast, don't forget to subscribe or sponsor below. We'll talk to you soon. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye-bye.